Episode 149, Jonbenet Case, a Murder Mystery. On Wednesday, December 18th, 1996, a bunch of Access Graphics employees gathered for a murder mystery dinner at Pasta J's in downtown Boulder, even including Jeff Merrick, who no longer worked at Access Graphics. When detectives interviewed Don Paul, he said that on December 18th, Jeff Merrick and his wife, Kathy, Jason Perkins, Cameron Hinson, Tom Carson, and Mike Glynn had eaten together at Pasta J's. Paul thought it was strange that former Access Graphics employees were dining with a current employee like Carson. The next day, Thomas and Gossage would follow up and interview Tom Carson at the Access Graphics office. They asked him where he'd been on Christmas night. Carson said that on December 24th, he had taken a United Airlines flight to Chicago and then flew to Paris. In 1996, Jeff and Kathleen Merrick lived at 1005 Turnberry Circle in Louisville, Colorado. And then here's a map of where that is located and where the Ramseys live in Boulder. The detectives continued their investigation of ex-employees of Access Graphics. They interviewed Kathy and Jeff Merrick for a second time at their home. Merrick confirmed Don Paul's story about having dinner at Pasta J's with current Access Graphics employees Tom Carson and his anger towards John Ramsey. He said he remained friendly with several people from the company. What was so unusual about that? He restated his alibi, and his wife corroborated his story on Christmas night. He had been at home all evening, and she had been sick. When the detectives asked him to take a polygraph test, Merrick refused. In 1996, Mike and Mary Glynn lived at 1509 Brant Court in Boulder. And then here's a map of the location. There's a little picture of their house, and then the blue circle is where the Ramseys lived. Mike Glynn had met Ramsey in 1991 while he was on the football coaching staff at the University of Colorado, and joined Access Graphics in 1992 as head of international business development, where his knowledge of several foreign languages would come in handy. Glynn and Tom Carson set up the company's overseas sales and distribution center. By 1996, however, Glynn didn't see room for advancement in the company and decided to leave. Ramsey offered him more money to stay, but on May 3rd, 4 days after Jeff Merrick left, Glynn went to work for CompuWare in Tucson, Arizona. In 1996, Tom Carson lived at 637 South Broadway Street, Suite B in Boulder, Colorado. But that might not be true, because looking at that address, it's in a strip mall. So I don't know what's up with that. In the rest of this video, I just named the people that were at that dinner party at Pasta J's. So Michael Minard was there, and he lived at 2105 Vassar Drive in Boulder. And here's a look at where he lived, which is more in South Boulder, and where John Ramsey lived. And then the next person is Cameron Hidson, who lived at 1187 Bear Mountain Drive in Boulder. And then here's their location of their place, and the blue arrow points to the Ramsey's house. And then the last person in this video is Jason Perkins, who lived at 913 Broadway Street. And that's right there. And that, I noticed, is only about 5 or 6 blocks away from the Ramsey's house. So that immediately drew suspicion. So something's up with that. And then I looked at the place. I think it's an apartment or something. So I don't know much about Jay Perkins, but that might call for another episode of Unsolved. So maybe next week. So that concludes this episode. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved. And on the next episode, we go back to the Zodiac killer case. And we look at Donald Cheney. Is he the Zodiac killer? We'll take a look. See you tomorrow.